What's up, guys? RSQ, Curtis and Dakota here, back with another fun review. We are kicking off Indie Book Month. Our plan is to read, we normally read a bookish about a week. So I think our plan is to do hopefully three indie books this month and maybe squeeze in a fourth, depending on the length of the books we end up choosing. But we finished our first book. As Dakota pointed out, we read already Rise of the Infected by Anissa and Tyler Thornberry, the married couple that wrote this together. So we have the book here, Rise of the Infected, part one. Dakota, I don't know if you knew, I just saw that this is going to be a 12-part series.
Yeah, exciting. I think the next one's supposed to come out Q4 of this year, September, October.
Okay. Yeah, sweet. So a lot more to look forward to with the series. If you end up liking it, you got a lot more to build off in this unique world that we were put in. Um so I think we're just gonna go ahead and get down in it. That's gonna be
Yeah,
our roll this June. The wheel is on pause. I know you miss it. If for some reason we get 800 indie books. We'll put or 12, I guess. No, I don't have a wheel that has 800, but I have one that has 12. We'll spin it and pick indie books that way. But so far we got this one to talk about. So let's get into it.
yeah, we'll have to talk about what other indie books we want to do later. But for now, let's look at Rise of the Infected. Opening thoughts on it, the powers, the concept of it, really cool. I liked the like post apocalyptic superpowers that come from an infection idea. Pretty nifty.
You know, when I first saw this book, I didn't read the premise because I feel like reading a premise sometimes ruins a book for me because like this is what I need to expect. I like to go in no knowledge. Well, I knew the premise going in and I was like, oh, that's interesting. But like the whole infected, my brain's always like, oh, they're zombies and type blah blah
Yeah,
blah.
me too.
Infected is humans and they get superpowers from being infected. Sweet. I love it. Love superpowers. Anything with magical powers is gonna be a fun time.
Yeah, you really can't go wrong. Make a human and make them have something that's out of this world, and you just can't go wrong with it. So, let's jump in. Should we talk about the characters that stood out to us? Character relationships.
Yeah, do you have a favorite character out of all of them that or a favorite power, I
Ooh,
guess, that you want to be like, wow, this is actually
yeah. I feel like my favorite character is Bio, and I don't know if, and I guess we should say spoiler warning here. So if you're watching our full
spoilers.
review, you're gonna see some spoilers. I think I don't know if this was like if Bio was supposed to be my favorite character. I feel like oftentimes the first character you're introduced to in a book, like say maybe Kaladin in Stormlight Archive, is like supposed to be your favorite character, right? But that's how I felt about Bio. He's like first one we're introduced to. His power was, I think his power required him to use his brain the most. He definitely had to be creative, whereas some of the like they talk about it a lot in the book too, like the brains and the brawn. Like some of the characters that had stronger powers and more like physical powers, they just wanted to rush in and fight. But Bio's like, gotta be strategic. I can't do everything on my own. I'm not a physical fighter, so I've got to learn everything I can. So his power was cool. I liked how he could interact with the world around him, and I think that the first time we see him use his power on like it's like a car, I think. Like looking at
Bus. Bus
yeah.
coming in.
Was it a bus? The very first one? Was it like a
Yeah, it was the bus, and then they take the motorcycle out.
you're right.
Or
You're right.
I think it's a motorcycle, little mini car or whatever. Moped thing.
But anyway, I think Bio's my favorite. Uh Honorable mention.
Well, you
Hmm,
don't get an honorable mention
you're right,
until
you're
I get
right.
to talk about it because you're gonna say all the
Excuse me.
characters that I like. And this is
And then
gonna
you're just
be
not gonna have any characters that you can say.
because I was gonna say Buyout was my favorite
Ooh.
because
But now
real
you're just
quick, just
copying
I'm
me.
not just copying. They want to be like the cool kids. I think it was out of all the powers the most unique power, just in general. Like out of all uh superhero type things, having something you can look at in a little bio of whatever you're looking at comes up and you get to read about it is super cool. I felt um it was the first character, so I was a little bit biased. I felt his power was like a little bit inconsistent at times, where sometimes he'd look at something and get a full breakdown of things, and other times there he wouldn't get anything for some reason, or he like blinked too quick and it would disappear. I'm not sure. But overall I liked him. And I think Sandy's power is really
Yeah, that was cool. I wasn't gonna mention Sandy. I wasn't thinking about that, but Sandy's power was cool.
yeah, Sandy's power was cool. Since we could talk about spoilers, hers is I don't know how it works or anything, and I don't know if we're supposed to know yet. We got like a brief little blip. It's a 5-year-old girl named Sandy who can control sand, dream sand, and nightmare sand.
Yeah, she
And
has like a dream verse. Is that what they called it? Like a dream realm that she creates and she has full control of.
yeah, and can like one of the characters, she like turns into sand in there and would be, dead if it weren't for that he could control sand as well. But I was like, okay, we're just gonna kill characters in their dreams. Who's that? Freddy Krueger? She's
Yeah, a
5.
5-year-old who's like, "You're dead now."
Yeah,
It's like,
ha
oh,
ha, hee
oh,
hee, your sand
okay.
pile. Like, all right, bud.
Enjoy death.
Please don't murder me. Um, but yeah, bio.
Yeah, the power, I agree. I hope in future books we understand more about how these powers work, right? Like how, I don't know, maybe from like a quasi like sci-fi or quasi scientific point of view, like how does the infection give them powers? How is bio, like what are the
Yeah.
what are the nuances, right? Are the nuances just going to be things that they have to discover and that we discover with them, or is there going to be like more background to these nuances?
I was wondering too if with the powers they like. I think this is kind of what you're trying to say. If like they have this power, these are the parameters, or if it's like with different each person, like one person might be able to do something different, like with
Yeah,
Ellie and shifts, like differences in their type of.
or like even morphs differences. How morph had like immediate control versus Ellie and Shift.
Mhm.
But characters were cool. Definitely some room to grow for the characters though, because I feel like it was a really big cast for a first part, and so I could see that we're going to know more and we're going to learn more about these characters. But
Mhm.
when you introduce like a really big cast so early on, I think it's hard to get to know them more. So I think we know I feel like we know Bio and Hope the best, and then in descending order, like Stone and Shift, and then like the
Almost in the order we met them, kind of.
yeah.
Almost,
Yeah.
because I feel like we know Vibrate a lot.
Yep.
That's her name, right? Vibrate.
Yep.
Or yeah, I think if you're to classify it as something, if you're into anime or I guess something like that, like it's like a training arc almost. Like we're in the very beginning, like fundamentals of what's about to happen, which is super important for the rest of the story. And I felt like this book is the starter for some big, type thing that could happen. Right? We're getting the base layer here, and I'm excited to
Yeah.
see what gets built
Yeah.
off of
Excited to
it.
see where it goes. Right.
Yeah.
And then the next category we had setting and world building.
Setting and world building. I thought that we were slowly given some information. The characters don't know anything, so that makes it hard. They're like trapped in a facility. I don't know what age. I don't think we have that information yet, but they're like roughly all around like 20ish, I think they mentioned
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
in one of the
That's what it.
parts. So, but then as the characters are discovering things, we get things like there's 2 or 3 alien races. I think now. I think 2 for sure that we saw.
I think there's three.
It was like
There's
Trelly or
like
something, and then
The Krantic. I might be butchering that name, and the Telic. And
should
then
have
I
wrote it
feel like there
down.
was a third. I feel like the one that they fought in the final arc was a third type, or maybe that was one of the Telics. I think it was Telic.
Telex sounds right because it's
Yeah,
like relic, but not. But anyway, yeah, I thought though the information that we were getting is slowly piecing together like this. Like we started off like really, really small, right? With not really knowing anything. And then as we added more characters who each knew a little bit more, we're starting to kind of, grow a little bit, mainly through Bio, our favorite character, who gets to read like, oh, I'm looking at the
yeah.
thing and
Bio
now
gives us the most. He gives us the most exposition, which is probably natural because it seems like the other characters don't have as much familiarity with the world around them. But Bio's like, I'm getting information from my power, so I understand more.
Mhm, mhm.
But yeah, definitely foundational, right? I'm interested in the world. I've gotten enough information about the world to want to know more, but I'm also like, tell me more. What's going on? What is the world around them? What does it look like? What is the landscape of society right now? Tell me more.
Right. I do wish we would have gotten a little bit more in this book to kind of like, I don't know,
Yeah,
kind of know what's if not
maybe like
know
a
what's
prologue that sets the setting. That's like humanity
yeah.
is this, and the world looks like this, something like that.
Yeah, something like that I think would be helpful, or even like I guess setting wise, kind of like what's in between the facilities. I felt like it might have been just like a lot of desert and something like that. Like maybe they are in
Yeah,
somewhere full of desert, I guess. And I'm
it
just an
felt like they
idiot.
were in desert in the book, but is it that there's always desert, or is it just the area that are they in like high desert, like California, Arizona area, Las Vegas area?
Yeah, because to me it felt like a little post-apocalyptic, almost a little bit like, all right, these aliens are testing on them. There's these facilities and nothing in between. I'm like, maybe there's just everything got nuked up, or is like just you know falling apart type thing.
Yeah, I want to know what happened to the rest of humanity, right? Like the general population. Or maybe there is no more general population. Maybe all humanity is test subjects now. Don't know.
I think we'll get that information in the following books, um, or the following parts, I should say. The first facility, I had a question too, and maybe you know, the first facility they were in, was like half blown up. Do we know why that was half blown up?
So I think, are you talking about the facility that Bio and Hope came from, or the first facility that they went to?
The first one
Like
that they went to, because then they
the one
had
they,
shift go into it.
yeah. So I think what happened
Why
was,
was it
I
blown
think, and
up?
we got some more information about this in the last facility that they went to. I think that it was because there was like a corrupted wing, like the
Oh
like
yeah,
those that were corrupted or beginning to become corrupt were kind of just left to their own devices in a more like abandoned part of the facility.
that makes sense. Do you want to
And
talk about
then
the corrupted a little bit more?
yeah, the corrupted were a cool idea as well. Definitely interested to see like how those play into the story later. Essentially, it sounds like it's someone who was like forced to use their powers so much, or like tested on, experimented so much, maybe like enhanced their powers, or like forcibly enhanced so that it starts to like break down and they can't control it anymore. They can't like choose when to use or not use their power, and they're like the character, the first corrupted character we're introduced to is called Goop, I think, and he's
Yes.
like not in human form when we meet him, and Hope heals him and helps him. He like she gives him enough mental clarity that he can shift back, but he knows he's corrupted and he knows that he's gonna like eventually turn into goo again and not be able to control himself, like not be able to control his transformation anymore. So super cool premise there, super cool idea.
I bet you we see Goop again too. I don't think he's
I
gone.
think so too. He doesn't seem like he's gone. He seems like he's coming back.
Also, speaking of Hope, she's so broken.
Hope's
It,
busted.
the second she gets kidnapped or something or is away for the moment, all these characters are getting just killed because she's kept all every single one of them
Yeah,
alive
she
at some
saved like
point.
all of them from death at one point in the story.
She doesn't really have any limit that we see so far. Everybody else tires out, and she goes, "Oh, I'll just heal you from your like windpipe getting crushed, and like, oh, you just got thrown through a wall.
Yeah, I'm
You're
definitely interested to
healed."
know like what the I have two feelings about Hope. One is I feel like she's her whole like physiology makes sense. Like it for some reason, the fact that she doesn't have to sleep or like eat makes sense. Just makes sense to me. Like she
Mhm.
seems like different enough that like
It's a cool detail.
her not needing to like eat and sleep and be like a regular human seems like it just like makes sense to me. But I'm also interested to know like what the source of her power is. Like is there an energy source that she's healing from? Like is she like a limit? It seems like she's a limitless resource. Like she can heal endlessly, but
Because she doesn't have to take the resources, water, nutrient thing.
yeah, so maybe she's pulling from the bodies of the people she's healing from. Like at one point when she's healing Shift, it says that she helps. I think it says she helps like him circulate his nutrients, like when he was like malnourished, and
So
so
you
she's
think
like,
she's more, not symbiotic, but well, yeah, symbiotic. She heals the host and takes nutrients from the host type thing.
yeah, or uses the host nutrients to heal them. I'm just interested to see if we're gonna hear like a energy source for her powers, or if it's like, and there might not be, right? It might be just like a that's the premise is like she has the power to do this, and
She
it
could
doesn't
just be
have like
cracked, yo.
yeah, but she seems OP, overpowered, busted, broken. Choose this character to win.
Choose your character. How did you feel about the tone of our book here?
Yeah, the tone is one where I think that this book has the most room to grow. It seems like it seems like they're still trying to get their feet under them, And so maybe
Fair.
the best way to put it is that they're like discovering like maybe they're along for the ride with us. Maybe they're discovering the world as they like build the characters out. So like does that make sense? Like they're writing the character, and as they're developing the character mentally and internally, they're like getting to know them better as well. But I
Yeah.
all that to say, I think the tone didn't seem like it was 100% fleshed out. Like I didn't know like what the style was. So maybe they're still finding the style. Maybe they're still looking to get their feet under them for the style. But I would say that the tone, the like voicing is probably where it had like the most room to grow from my perspective.
Yeah, I feel like that's fair. I felt like it had some like chunks that like felt pretty cohesive, and then we would have like a little bit of a shift, and then it kind of felt like we were right back at the beginning. I was like, wait, I have to figure out who's talking to who and
Yeah.
about what, and um just the way the characters are speaking and stuff. I felt like for what is happening in the world, everybody's very positive. Like shift is positive, but everything like I feel like tone would be like a little bit darker to me
Yeah,
anyway.
Stone's tone, stone tone, tone stone.
Don't
Stone's
tone.
tone was like more grittier, more like
Yeah, and I felt
more
like that makes sense.
like
He's like,
grump.
"Bro, no one's helping me try not to die. Everybody's
Yeah.
dying around me, and everyone's like, oh, I'm afraid to kill.'" Um,
But
yeah, I would
I
agree with
do
that.
think go ahead.
All right. What I was gonna say is, so I just went to this fun thing, by me when I got to meet Joe Abercrombie, and he was talking about how with his first book, it was a struggle because he has to build all this and blah 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 blah. But then, so it took him whatever he said, like 3 years to write the book, and then book two, it took only 2 years because he had characters he already was in their lives in like a setting, and he could build off of that. So I think we'll kind of get that more
Yeah,
hopefully in the
that's
second
a
book.
similar vein to what I was just about to say when we were talking at the same time. We did that cute thing. We were like, "Oh, you go. No, you go." No, I feel like tone is definitely something that it's normal for especially new writers, but it's normal for a new story to have to develop. It's normal for a new story to have to develop the tone. And I definitely see even in other stories, it's like them getting their feet under them discovering like what the tone of the story will be in the first book and like how it's going to look in subsequent books.
And I feel like that, like you said, it's the hardest part because, you can come up with a great story and great characters and everything, but put that on paper, and I feel like they do a good job. It just needs, to fill in some cracks here and there, but I like to build kind of how you want things to move along.
Yeah, early expositions, I think the toughest part of a
I
new
couldn't do it.
story, right? Same. That's why we're readers and reviewers and not writers.
Huh? Uh-huh. Exactly, my friend. Exactly.
All right. Themes and intent.
Themes and intent. I mean, you definitely have, I know they had talked about in one of their posts, like, things of found family, and stuff like that. I think there are some elements of that. I think it's still like early crew trying to figure out how to work with each other, type thing. So I don't think they have found that family yet. More like forced proximity type crew, I guess. I'll keep on calling crew. They're not the family yet, just the crew.
Yeah, it seems like it's definitely leading towards the family, right? Though, so like, what
Yeah.
experiences are they gonna? What traumatic experiences are they gonna have that push them closer together to being that family?
Yeah, because I think one big thing that I was like waiting to happen because we lost Stone, right? So I think Stone got, abducted and he's gonna be re-experimented on, but he never got experimented on before. So I think my theory is they eventually save him, and then when they save him, he'll be like, wow, I super appreciate what Bio, Hope, and Ellie
Ellie.
and Vibrate and everybody went through because I was like not giving you guys enough credit. Like I totally get why Ellie wasn't using her powers and why blah 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 blah. So I think we'll get some of those things. I think there was a lot of illusions, not illusions. We were alluding to a lot of things, theme wise. I think we're getting like we said, the brickwork, the foundation for some stuff like that.
Yeah, another thing I just thought of since we're talking about stone. I liked the use of the word alter in the book. Like when they shift, it
Oh, their altar
the
form.
yeah, they're like it refers to them as like turning into their alter, which I think is cool because it's not like typical language for someone who's like shape shifting into a different form. It's not like he's in his stone form. It was like no, he's his alter. So I thought that was cool.
It is cool because then I feel like it drives home the point that like their alter form is not them. Like they're human, and then they are this other thing that they turn into because they are infected, but they are not the same thing. Type thing.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Separate the human from the power.
Yeah, there were a lot of twists that I didn't see coming. I didn't see aliens being a thing. I didn't, maybe you did, but when I first read the synopsis, I did not see aliens as being like
I
I
thought,
thought it was,
yeah, humans were experimenting on humans or
that's what I
something like
thought.
that, and
Yeah.
then they like drop the coat, and there's no legs. I'm like,
Now, wait a minute.
they got cripples experimenting on people. They got people with no legs. But no, it's aliens.
Yeah, I didn't see the aliens
They
coming.
don't
That
have
was cool.
Lieutenant Dan experimenting on people.
That was a cool twist. And then the last fight where the alien like infects himself and is like, it's not permanent on anybody who only has a double helix. It's not permanent on anybody with more than a double helix. And
I
it's like,
thought
oh,
I thought that was one of the more important points of the book because we got the most information in that little fight there because he goes, "Oh yeah, like you didn't think we were experimenting on you for like fun. We're doing it to like give ourselves better powers. You guys are like our sheep." And I'm like, "Okay, so like now we know why." Like
yeah, it sets
there
the
was no
premise of
why until it was like right there.
sets the premise of humanity as a lab rat, right?
Yep, which is on the book.
It is.
Universe's perfect lab rat. You can't see that. Now you can.
You can. It's there.
Now you can. So yeah. So I'm picturing because I kept seeing this on the book. This little guy.
Yeah.
Is that what the aliens looked like? Because that's what I was picturing the whole time.
I don't know. That's not what I was picturing. I
Because
was
they
picturing
looked like monitors with like a stand, is what they kind of said. I was picturing, I don't know why, but I was picturing these guys in lab coats
what a
with
mental image.
masks, though.
I like the artwork too. That's something we didn't talk about. The artwork between some of the early
Oh,
chapters.
oh yeah, yeah. I'll pull them up.
Who will find it first?
Probably you, because I'm slow.
Uh,
I went to the later chapters.
Maybe. Okay. Yeah. Here we go. Here we go. I found one.
Is it the same one? No. What you got there? It looks like
I've got.
Shift.
It is Shift. Artwork was cool. I enjoyed the artwork and the little like mental assistance
It
in
was
recognizing the characters and understanding like their clothing.
it was definitely unique. I feel like we don't normally get something like that, especially in
Yeah.
between chapters. Oh, and you know what else you probably didn't notice? Because I'm way smarter than you. Um,
Go on.
open your book, please, to the table of contents. Did you notice that the first letter of each of the chapter titles
Oh
spells
my
something?
gosh.
One day soon, I will. It says. What does that mean? I have no friggin' idea. I kept looking for it in the book, but I think that eventually all of the titles might do something together from different books.
Dang, that's cool.
Isn't that
I
sweet?
didn't notice that. That's really cool. That's really unique. That's really unique.
That
Definitely
fun?
got something cool there. Man, if it's gonna spell something over the course of all 12 books, that'd be really cool.
Be cool. We'll see. We will see, or maybe we totally missed it and it was in there.
Maybe we missed it.
I don't know. I was looking for it.
I had one more theme that I was gonna mention. The theme of like freedom. Just the theme of like desire to bring freedom to others.
I thought it was unique too that everybody they saved didn't necessarily want what they wanted. They're like, okay, you
Yeah.
can make your little merry band of adventures, but I don't want to be part of that. Thanks for the
I thought that was
save.
realistic too.
Also, because they had some crazy kid, like the guy that could stop time, and he goes,
FaceTime.
"This time he goes, yeah, I don't want to be with you guys." And the dips were like, okay, that would have been another broken character to have. Do we ever see him again? I don't know. I kind of
I
hope
feel like
so.
we'll see him again. He's coming back. I believe. I believe.
I believe so.
All
Yeah.
right. Overall experience and audience fit.
So when I was reading this, it made me uh, growing up. I read a series called I Am Number Four. It was about like teenagers with powers, essentially. If you've read that, or if you actually, there's a movie too. If you've seen the movie growing up, you might like this. I felt like the powers were still they were kind of along those lines, where you kind of have one power and it's unique to you, and like escaping aliens, that are trying to eliminate you or experiment experiment on you for whatever reason. Um, but if you like that sort of thing, kids with powers, even though they're older, they're 20, but like young adults with powers type thing, I feel like this is a good YA like sci-fi, maybe apocalyptic. I can't say that word.
A post-apocalyptic.
Post-apocalyptic um type vibe that I think this would be for you.
Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely a page turner. I
We
was
read it
interested. I
fast.
was yeah, we read it. It was I was on vacation, so I didn't read it as fast as I normally read a book, but I still think I read it quickly. In the time that I was like sitting and reading, I read it pretty quickly.
And I normally read at work is where I get some of my reading done. And I had the flu and was not in work, so I read slower as well. But we still read it within a week.
But yeah,
So
it was a page turner. Really enjoyed the powers. I felt like there was a nice blend of unique powers with like the generic ones you expect to see in superpower, like shapeshifting, like animal shapeshifting. I feel like
you
is
kind of
one that
have to
like
have it.
yeah, it's like Beast Boy. It's like a base level like power that you expect to see. But it was cool to see like vibrates powers were cool. The guy who stored potential energy and could only use it or could only store it when he wasn't moving. And as soon as he started moving, he lost it. And then I liked how Bio's power was kind of like lit RPG esque, right? Like it felt
Yeah.
like seeing the menus in real life. So it was a entertaining read. It was a page turner. Definitely some clear points to grow, but that's not a bad thing. I mean, I think we talk a lot about books that have places they can grow in. So I think we said tone and like world building. We could use a little more of understanding the setting, but maybe in both of those, tone and world building, it's something that they're going to build as they write, like as they go into later books.
Yeah, I think one of the main points that I was thinking when we were making this review this video was it definitely felt like a foundation book. I felt good about where we're going. I felt like this we kind of didn't have a lot in the beginning here. But near towards the end, we got a little bit more information that I felt better about, like when we figured out why the aliens were experimenting in the first place,
Yeah.
type thing. But I'm excited to see because I think in these upcoming books, we'll see more with like the characters in there and how they grow through all this, as well as like you said, the setting and the world building. I feel like we didn't really get a lot this time around, but I think that now that they're finally out of their little bubble, hopefully we'll be able to see
Yeah,
more of what's going on.
it was very fast paced, very much like they're on the run. They're trying to stay out of captivity. They're growing the team, and so it seems like we've got a good base. And I'm excited to see where it'll go next. Right?
Yeah, I will definitely be reading part two when it comes out September, October, I think they had told us. So I guess keep your eyes out for that. I'm sure it'll be available in their TikTok shop. If not, Amazon, I think is where we got this one. But I'm sure it'll be linked to their page, which we will tag them in our videos.
There we go.
All right. Well, on that note, we enjoyed that
Yeah,
the book.
thanks Tyler and Anissa for giving us a copy. They sent us a copy and we bought the other copy. But thanks for putting your story out there for us to read. Thanks for being an indie author in the world of big fish publishing companies. We enjoyed the roller coaster you took us on.
And that's something fun we wanted to do with this indie month is something we might not normally have read because it wasn't on like the main shelf at Barnes and Noble or being, blown up all over, Book Talk, the same couple of things. So we wanted to see
Yeah,
some things we
definitely.
might not have normally come across. And I think this is one of those that might have fit that bill. So I'm glad we were able to get introduced to this world and we'll be keeping tabs along as the books come out. All right. Other books on our docket.
Yeah, where are we going next? We're going to
You got it right there. Actually, I think I have mine over here somewhere.
bum bum bum.
Second Planet by Brian Wilson is our indie book number two.
Yeah, we're going there next. And then I believe after that, we're looking at the engineer's mechanic. And then I think we're going to see if we can squeeze in a fourth book at the end of the month as
I
well.
like to squeeze in a fourth book. If not, we'll go from there. I think depending on who finishes a book first here or there, we'll probably maybe squeeze one in on our own type thing that we don't read together. Different genres.
Yeah. Yeah, I think well, I'll let it be a surprise what my between book is. My waiting
Okay.
for Curtis to catch up book.
Listen. So this is a pretty hefty book we got going. This will definitely take some time. And this is book one. So this is the Power of the Stars, book one. Um, I think there's a trilogy and it's already finished. So
Yeah,
for the
that's
sake of
exciting.
our month, we're just gonna do the first book if it does happen to be a series. That way we can read more authors. We will read the rest of these. Just we'll finish them at just so we can get more authors in while we do this.
So we can do the indie month highlight.
The indie month highlight reel, 281 pages.
281. More than that.
581. Sorry.
I was like 281. This does not look like a 281 page book.
So we have that, and Engineers Mechanics on its way. We have that ordered, and
Yeah, we'll have to unbox that for you.
Yeah, we'll do that shortly. So we'll be doing that, and if there's any other books, if you're an indie author out there and you would like us to read your book, let us know. If we end up getting a bunch of inquiries, we might extend it a month or stockpile a bunch and do it in the future, like
Yeah,
before the
When
end
we
of the
need
year for sure.
when we need a wheel break, we can do a quick pause and read an indie book.
Yeah, or we might do a thing every 2 books on the wheel, 1 book indie or something like that. We'll figure
It's a good
something
idea
out.
too.
But we're always looking for recommendations. So that's our story.
That's it. That's what we got for you today on RSQ.
Thanks for being here with us. Thanks for checking out. Oh, that was almost the wrong book. Rise the Infected with us. It was an exciting read. Go ahead and check it out. If this book sounds like it was for you, go for it. Take
But
the ride.
otherwise,
Take a leap. Adios.
catch you next time.